The next position that we will hear from candidates will be the Seattle City Council position 1. First speaker is Chaz Redmond.
Thank you, and I agree. The candidate guide date should be pushed back. I'm Chaz Redmond. I'm running for City Council from District 1, which includes the 11th Legislative District portion of South Park. The rest of District 1 is in the 34th Dems District. What I've done in West Seattle in the last 12 years, and it's included South Park, has been involve myself in environmental aspects, community aspects, musical and entertainment aspects, transportation in every form whatsoever. I was on the ped board, the bike board, the transit board. I worked with ECOS to produce the West Seattle Trails map at the same time that they were producing the Duwamish Resource map. So we had a nice partnership. And in my role with Sustainable West Seattle on board, we were among the very first people that participated in Riverfest, sponsored by the Duwamish River Cleanup Coalition. And we have continued that. So I have a lot of experience actually in the 11th Legislative District, but only in the South Park side. And one of the things that I would like to push for, transportation obviously, equity, I agree with everything that we're looking at in terms of equity. The equity covers everything. It covers city investments, it covers making sure that the underserved are actually served. It means that we take care of elderly. It means that we don't let people go homeless. It means that the city should and can come up and help people who are under distress. But it also means that we look at such things as the police department and that we have equitable distribution of police resources. I know South Park and Georgetown are extremely concerned about the lack of policing. I believe that we should have substations. One of the things that I know that South Park is really interested in, as is West Seattle, is more jobs. We have tremendous opportunity for jobs. We have a lot of property along the river, both in South Park and Harbor Island and in West Seattle. We also need office space. It's not just industry, but it's actual white-collar, high-paid jobs. So I would push for that, and I have a lot of help in that from the West Seattle community. So seeking an endorsement.
David.
Yes. You mentioned some issues with the elderly. It's oftentimes forgotten when we talk about livable wages. It's not just young people trying to break in. What specific policies would you like to see around keeping the city livable for the elderly who are often on fixed incomes?
A couple of things. I'd like to see rent stabilization enabled both locally and countywide and statewide. The concept of rents going up month after month because somebody doesn't have a long-term lease is actually unethical and immoral. I would also like the city to provide the means, if somebody is being displaced in their house, to be able to actually go in and offer support. We do that for all sorts of other organizations, nonprofits. There's no reason why we can't do that for individuals. I would also favor municipal banking as a means of actually providing a source of funding for nonprofits and communities of faith to be able to purchase older apartment buildings and then turn them around. There's a suite of solutions to keep people not going under, and I would support that. But especially the elderly, I've talked to so many people in older apartment houses, both in South Park and along Fauntleroy Way, that are literally scared that their building is going to be sold out from under them, and many of them don't have the means of getting around anywhere. So it's a critical issue.
In regards to the City of Seattle's current dispute with the Port of Seattle, the port currently about the Shell tanker, what do you feel needs to be done from the city's point of view, and what do you see as an equitable resolution?
Well, the equitable resolution obviously is to follow the law and allow Foss Maritime to maintain those 400 jobs for the next 3 months. And then for the city to stand back and look at the port and work with the port to make the port a profitable maritime operation. I understand the airport is quite profitable. The one thing that we haven't done is we haven't sat down as a city and decided what it is that we want our city to be. We're looking at the 2035 plan, but that's only how the city's going to operate, not what our goals are to be. And the same is true with the port. This is a sad truth, but since the port has been in business, we have been in the business of shipping products that are exploiting the planet. So this is nothing new. The best thing that could be done is to expose the dangers of the Arctic drilling, and we could do that using the University of Washington geoscience facilities. I don't know if you all remember the the tsunami in Elliott Bay visualizations that came out several years ago, it woke everybody in this area up. And my feeling is if we did the same thing with what we know about the Arctic, about the Chukchi Sea, about Shell's drilling practices, that we could show a visual simulation that would turn people around, not only here, but also in Washington. And we haven't done that. We haven't provided visual proof of what could go wrong. So my goal will be to look at the much longer vision and work with both local, the port, and the federal government to get the Arctic drilling permit revoked.
Okay, thank you. Is it Tavel?
Tavel.
Tavel.
Yes. And thanks for everybody taking the time to come out and listen to candidates. This is a good thing. I wish everybody would come out and do that. It would make the election process a lot easier. So again, my name is Phillip Tavel. I'm running for City Council for District 1. And the main reason I'm running is because I see a tremendous lack of leadership, management, and follow-through in our City Council. And you can see that across the board. The tunnel and how that project has been managed. We've got the streetcar for First Hill and how that project's been managed. We have a police department that has to be under a mandate from the Department of Justice. It goes down the board that there are so many different things that could be better if we had a city council that was out in front of these things, being proactive rather than reactive. And also we have a chance now to put a voice that's from our neighborhood. I've lived in West Seattle for 17 years, and in fact over the last 3 months I've learned a tremendous amount of South Park, and even though that they have very different needs, they still need to be addressed by a voice that's going to be strong for them. I was a teacher, I've been a public defender for 10 years, I'm a pro tem judge in King County, and I really want to make a difference for my neighborhood, and I want to make a difference for Seattle in general.
Okay, you mentioned mismanagement. It's easy to say there's mismanagement. What I want to know is what would you do specifically different in regards to any of the issues you mentioned? How would you, as a city councilor, use your role to change how things are being managed? If you want to pick something, perhaps the tunnel project's a good one.
Oh, perfect. So with the tunnel project, I think one of the biggest problems is in the beginning, we had a city council that didn't mind the fact that a lot of the cost overruns are going to be borne by Seattle taxpayers. And doing that up front because there was this decision that we needed to get a plan in place. The viaduct wasn't going to be good for that long. We just need to get something done. I think there was too much pushing that, and I think there was a sense of, let's put traffic underground. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Yes, just put traffic underground and let's collect the fees for putting up condos on the front, on the downtown waterfront. And because we have this problem now that we're behind by 2 years in replacing the viaduct, we have Bertha being stuck again, there aren't plans in place. There isn't a quicker plan to get the Lander Street overpass put in. Taking a look at 4th Avenue and 1st Avenue and other things that we can do to alleviate traffic problems. And so what I see as a mismanagement issue there is the fact that they're not looking at what happens if it doesn't work. And sure enough, that's exactly where we are. We have a tunnel that's stopped. We have a tunnel digging machine that now who knows when it's going to go on. And we don't have a plan B or a plan C in place. And that's the type of management issues I see.
Thank you. Thank you. So a big round of applause for is there a motion from Seattle City Council District 1?
Hello, thanks for letting me have a chance to come out and speak to you all again. This is my third time out, and I'll be out in June. I don't know if you remember, but I'm running for Seattle City Council District 1 to represent the West Seattle and South Park District. I feel I'm the candidate that has the qualities that make me most suited to represent the district. The reason is I've been working in City Hall on behalf of West Seattle and South Park residents for the last 17 years as aide to Seattle City Council member Nick Licata. I ran his campaign in '97 and I've been by his side ever since, working on behalf of the residents of the city. And some people have asked me whether or not that makes me a City Hall insider. Well, I definitely know how to get things done, but I've really been focused my work on helping folks who do not typically have the ear of City Hall. So I really think I bring a unique perspective to the work. My background is as a community organizer before working for Nick, so I have a real inside-outside perspective, and I hope to get your support. Thank you.
Questions? Yes. Nobody escapes the questions. All right. How do you feel about the state? You mentioned underprivileged communities. How do you feel about the state of Seattle's police department and the relationship with those communities you speak of?
Absolutely. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I feel that there's some opportunity with the new leadership, both at the police guild as well as the new police. What? Oh, talk to the people. Excellent. Thank you. So there's new leadership, both with the new police chief as well as a new guild president. The guild president recently told their membership that if they weren't going to police according to the values of the city, that they should go police somewhere else. And so I think that sends a really strong message for what the expectation is. We want a police department that is responsive to the residents, but that also polices with fairness and without racial bias, and when they don't do so, that they're held accountable. I think there's a lot of work still to be done under the consent decree, and we need to really focus on making sure that we implement the Community Police Commission's 57 recommendations.
One other question. The $15 minimum wage is considered by many to be just first step. What would you consider the next steps for the city of Seattle would be?
Absolutely. So our labor laws are only as good as their enforcement. I helped get the paid sick and safe leave ordinance passed in 2011. Before that law was passed, there were 190,000 residents, workers in the city who had no paid leave. 3 days sick is equal to a week's worth of groceries. So it's a really important victory, as is the paid sick leave, as is our laws prohibiting wage theft. But we really need to make sure that these laws are vigorously enforced and proactively enforced. They should not rely on a complaint from a worker in order to get a response. So the Office of Labor Standards is going to work to proactively inspect these laws by doing spot audits on employers that are known to have bad employment practices.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.